who I'm actually going to introduce, because I know a lot of people in Kenya know him already, so it doesn't need to introduce himself. So thank you very much. So I'll start with Simon on the studio. Yes, Simon.
Good evening, Lydia. Thank you for having me on your talk show. My name is Simon Murashia, like you said, descent from Kenya, from a town called Ojorok, or you can call it Kenyona in Muranga. I also run a website called Kenya to You Hub, and just happy to be here to discuss diaspora matters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, Simon is one of the greatest supporters. You support a lot of events in the UK, so you're a great supporter of diaspora, so thank you very much for that. I know you've supported me as well, and you didn't want me to talk about it, but they always say that give honor where honor is due, so thank you very much. Okay, we also have on the studio with us Dr. Amkeni, please. If you can just introduce yourself.
Hello, Lydia. Hello, Omega TV. This is Dr. Amkeni here. My name, well, is very well known right now in Kenya. I'm originally from Takaungu. Takaungu is a very small county, a very small town in the coastal region of Kilifi County. And I was born and raised in Mombasa, went to school in Malindi, other places in Hola, you know, but studied in Uganda, Zimbabwe, in Harare. But most of my life I've lived here in the UK. I'm a doctor in political science and human psychology. And at the moment my main work is charity. That's what I'm mainly engaged in.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Amkeni. And I also have Bernard with us on Zoom. Bernard, please, if you can introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bernard Kaviu, as Lydia said. I'm based in London in the UK, and I've been involved in a lot of mobilization in trying to unify diaspora Kenyans. And I must say I'm very thrilled that I'm invited today. Thank you very much for the invite, Lydia. I'm a founder and chairman of Congress for People's Democracy, which is in the UK. And of late, as we speak, I can also proudly say we just founded the Diaspora County 48 of Kenya. So Diaspora 48th County of Kenya. So yes, that's me. It's all about trying to mobilize, bring Kenyans together so that we can realize our common goals. I think I'll say more as we continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernard. We also have with us today M.P Moses Kuria, who is a member of Parliament at Gatundu South, Jubilee Party. So thank you very much, Moses Kuria. You're welcome today, Mheshimiwa. So I just want to say that one thing, all these three powerful men, and when I say three, I'm not talking about Mheshimiwa because Mheshimiwa is a politician already. So I'm talking about these three powerful gentlemen have in common is politics. And before we go in, I'm not a politician. I always like to say that. So I'm going to give a disclaimer just to make sure that I am not a politician. I'm just a facilitator giving you a forum, right? So I'm not a politician, but I host different shows. And today I'm hosting some upcoming politician, and anything they say today has not been rehearsed or been arranged prior, and has nothing to do with me. Agreed?
Agreed.
Good. Okay. So welcome, viewers, as you bring your ideas, your suggestions, and your questions, which I'm sure our guests will be very, very happy to answer. So I'll start with Dr. Amkeni. So Dr. Amkeni, what actually inspired you to get into politics? Because I know you do political science as well. Indeed. But what inspired you into getting into politics? Because a lot of people say politics is a dirty game.
Right.
Personally, I say that, so I don't like politics. But people say that. But we see you, and I see your videos as well. You are very passionate about this thing called politics.
Indeed.
So what inspired you into venturing into politics?
Thank you very much, my lady. For me, I wouldn't call myself a politician, not in a million years, despite the fact that I studied politics.
And why is that?
No, because politics, to me, it has no meaning in the field of human rights activist. I regard myself as a human rights activist.
Okay.
And by doing so, I shouldn't say that, because you might ask me and say, but Dr. Mkeni, if you're not a politician, what in the name of God are you doing wanting to, you know,
governor.
For a governor, yes.
Exactly.
Good. My answer to that would be very simple, right? If something is not done right, me as a human rights activist, I would stand there and say, no, this is not done right. 1 + 1, yes, it's 2, but even 2 - 1 is 2. Sorry, 3 - 1 is 2, isn't it? So you don't have to be a politician to set things right.
Okay.
If things were set right by a politician, right now in Kenya, in our parliament, I believe we have over 200 political members. Well, how comes in the name of God that our economy is dwindling day in, day out? If politics is there to set things right in the political field or in a national field. No. What is there to set things right is what is done wrong, and whoever can stand up and fix them, that is the man. Now, when you ask me what inspired me to go into politics, well, it is, as I've said earlier before, what has been going on in my county, Mombasa County, Coast Province, and Kenya as a whole. Things have been done in a mess. That's what had inspired me.
Okay. And you're thinking by you venturing into politics or you being a human activist can change that, right?
Indeed, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So I'll ask the same question to Simon. What actually inspired you to venture into politics?
I don't think I have been inspired to be in politics by anyone or any particular reason. I would like to agree with Dr. Mkeni, but I also wanted to prompt him before I continue. He's mentioned about our economy dwindling, and I beg to differ on that argument because I think Kenya as a country, the economy is very stable and growing, but we have the wrong political movement in the system. Like we have a system in the UK where there is no constitution as far as I am concerned, but and to my understanding, it has evolved over the years, and that helps to grow and politicize and grow the country. But then in our country, as a diaspora, I believe we are lacking in leadership and management of resources. That is where I would perhaps have an argument with. But in terms of my aspirations to be in politics, I've always admired the way we've done politics in Kenya. It's always been a political circus, but it's in a way funny but not good, which is why I'm here today, because
better than Uganda, right?
Yeah, I want to think it's time we change the way we did politics in Kenya to a more grown-up politics per se.
Okay, that's good. So in terms of economy, there is no structure.
There isn't.
There's no structure to it. Okay.
Well, I'll go back to maybe what we call our diaspora policy, which is why we're here, maybe talking about the diaspora policy and why it came about in 2010.
Yeah, we'll come into that a little bit later.
Yes, so you've asked me a question.
What inspired you? What inspired you
I have as a young person,
Yeah.
grown up in a family where politics has always been, and maybe many Kenyans will tell you that they've always been in an environment, in a room where politics isn't talk of the town.
Yeah.
So whenever something is happening, from when we were very young, I remember we used to be told, don't mention Moi.
Yeah.
Someone will hear you.
Yes.
And you'll be caught. And
they'll take you to your house.
And they'll take you to your house. So politics has always been our part and parcel. If you remember when we were in school, the very first thing we did on a Friday morning, before you sang the national anthem, you did the, what did you call it? Our national pledge. I pledge my loyalty to the president.
I pledge, yes.
So,
the president of Kenya.
So it was inbred and infused in us from a very young age. So
and with that, some people actually now thought, let me venture, and some people thought, let me run away. And I think I was the ones that thought, you know what, let me run away from this because it's toxic. I felt like it was toxic to me. So thank you very much for that. And I know we'll enter into that later, a little bit later. So I'll go to the same question and ask Bernard as well, because I know this guy is so passionate about this. And if you play, and you know, the group is talking about the 48th county. If somebody came there and they were trying to say, oh, this is no politics, and he was like, you know what, if you're eating vegetables, get out of this group, because this group is for nyama choma. And what that means is we're here for politics. Okay, so I know the passion that Bernard has. So I'll ask you the same thing, Bernard. I've asked Dr. Mkeni and Simon as well. What actually inspired you to enter to venture into this politics?
Thank you, Lydia. I think I was born into politics. I will not go into much details of that, but I believe, I've just realized most of the people of my generation do not really remember the previous Kenyan political dispensation from independence. Most of them just think of what has been happening in the 90s and late 80s, 90s, 2000, the millennium, and so on and so forth. But for some of us who were born in the 70s, for example, we found, in my case, I found that I came to a family that was involved in politics. So just to give you an idea, my uncle was actually the first African Speaker of the National Assembly. Now, when I say that to people, very few people would understand what I'm talking about when I say, oh, do you remember Fred Marty, who was the Speaker for 18 years? I mean, I think he was the best performing Speaker we've ever had. Very few people will remember that. So it's very difficult for me to answer that question. But when I meet people of that time, then they say, oh, okay, so I say, yes, that's my mom's brother, you know. So some politics rubbed off me, you know. My own father was a councillor in our, actually today, what my father was, as the chairman of the Kitui County Council, if he was there today, if it was today, it would be the governor of Kitui County Council.
Wow.
So, yeah, but back then, being a councillor or being the councils, they were nothing. They were not what we have today. And that's why when I look back and make the two I've mentioned, my uncle, rest in peace, my dad, rest in peace, if they were around today and this is what they were expecting at independence, when we used to talk about county council, counties running themselves, and so on and so forth. So yes, for me, I would say it started from that. So when I was born already, Kenya was independent, and I had all these people around me who were really deeply in politics. Then when I got to university, of course, our time, it was in the 90s, and there was a lot of activism, usually around boom. You know, when we joined, there was boom, and then boom was cut in the middle, and then there were lots of riots. I remember that's when I realized how life can become very dangerous, even in a university, because during that time, we had riots, and one of my classmates actually was shot dead,
Wow.
literally, So that's the first time I saw what death looks like, from a G3, those kind of things, And so I've seen things, and came the YK, the Youth for Kano 92, and we were all very excited about what's all this. So we were all involved in that, and then things started changing. So I'm talking 92, then come in the mid 90s. Now things seriously started changing, and that's when people like me decided maybe it's time to
venture into politics,
to look beyond beyond the borders of Kenya, and that's where it all started really. And that took me down to Southern Africa, and then from there to Europe, where I am now. And all along, I've been trying to mobilize diasporians to say, look, it's time we became something. Being outside of Kenya doesn't mean you have to be nothing.
We'll come back to that again, Benold, because now we're going to a different topic now. So thank you very much for that. So I will also invite Mheshimiwa and ask him probably the same question, because I know Mheshimiwa was in Saudi Arabia. From Saudi Arabia, he was in Dubai. He also worked in a bank. So all this, Mheshimiwa, what now inspired you to get into politics? I know you're a big politician, loved by many, hated by some, and that's life for you. Life has to be, some people have to love you, some have to hate you. So now, what made you venture into politics, Mheshimiwa? Hello? Hello?
I think he needs to turn on his camera, because his camera is...
No, he's driving. He's in a motorway or something. Or how do you call them in Kenya? Freeway, yeah. So Mheshimiwa, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can hear you, Lydia. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. So
yes. Or maybe I may have missed your question because of some network issue or something.
Okay.
So could you repeat that again?
Okay, so I'll do that. Yeah, I said the same question that my guests have been answering in the studio and on Zoom, Benold and Dr. Kenny and also Simon, the fact that they want to venture into politics, or they are actually politicians, some of them are human activists. But I wanted to ask with you as well, Mheshimiwa, I know you are a diaspora once upon a time. You're in Dubai, and then you are in Saudi Arabia, and then you worked in the bank. So all this, what now inspired you to be a politician?
Actually, it's the other way around. I actually was always a politician.
Okay.
I would describe myself that I was in politics. The gentleman who just spoke before me appears to be like from my generation.
Okay.
So from...
I don't know that be, is that me?
I was always interested in politics from those interesting political days of 70s and early 80s, even when we were in school. Very interesting times. I was in the actually in the clamor for multipartyism. I was actually in the streets during Sabasaba. I was in the streets.
Oh.
Just straight from my A levels before I joined the O levels. So politics was always part of me from primary school. Very much interested there. Then I was always in the local politics, helping candidates for especially for the MP seats, back then. So and that helped us to cut our teeth, literally speaking, in the political space. So by the time I joined the university now in the 90s, it was I was almost a full-blown politician. Then I was also in the student leadership in the University of Nairobi. So by the time I was to go out there, pursuing my professional career in banking and in in technology, I was just hiding the politician in me.
Oh.
So you can only hide that for some time.
Exactly.
So after some, some 15 or so years, I couldn't hide it any longer, and I had to go back home and pursue a full-time career in politics.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, for that. And I'll come back again to Dr. Amkeni, and I'll say, I know you're voting for a governorship.
That's right.
In Mombasa.
Yes.
So what makes you think that you can do a better job than our governor right now, Joho?
Yes. If I put this in a much clear context, the first thing and the foremost is that the rights, the county of Mombasa need to be brought back to the people, because it's the people, it's the people's rights that have been devolved. People's rights have been taken away by Governor Joho. So if people would have no right to express themselves, to say, excuse me, something is missing down there.
Yeah.
The drainage system are not there. And if that very person stands up and speak, and you as a governor tend to hate that person, killing these people or beating these people up or sending people to do all this, I think nothing will be able to be done. So what I'm trying to say is that but I know that if I am to be elected as a governor, the first and the foremost thing that I will do for my people in Mombasa County is I will bring the county back to the people.
So how do you quantify the fact that Joho has taken the country out of the people? What makes you think that he has taken that out of the people?
Well, as I've said earlier before, the people's needs are not met. The people's needs are not met. Please, tell me to give you an example.
Exactly.
Very good.
Please.
Very good. I'll give you a very simple example, something that a very small boy can see and can understand. All right? Governor Joho, if you go to Mombasa right now, go to these places, what we call Old Town, go and dig in these places, look at the water piping system, have a look at this water piping system. What would you see in this water piping system? We have BCW, British Colonial Water. We do not have a water system for the people of Mombasa. There is no drainage system for the people of Mombasa. Drugs are not only in increase, but the users of the drugs, the drug users, are on a high increase. People cannot speak. I'll give you another example. We had another human rights activist who rose up like me in Mombasa, who tried to speak. His name was Sadat Salum Damam, and he was attacked. He was shot, and a bullet did not hit him. It hit a 19-year-old boy, and he died instantly. And another bullet hit another person on the leg. The MCA for Congo, I think, if I'm not wrong, he stood up and said, excuse me, Mr. Joho, what you've done is not good. According to our budget, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 is missing. And what did Joho do? He sent some people to go and attack. Who are these people? Because you'll ask me, who are these people? How do you know that, Dr. Mkeni, this MCA was attacked?
Yeah,
he was attacked by Mombasa County Inspectorate.
But is that not just speculation, or there's proof?
Well, Joe is the one with executive powers in the county, I believe. So the county inspectorate, what we call the county police, they work under his orders, don't they?
I don't know.
Well, that's what it is.
That's what you're here to tell us.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
The county inspectorate, they went, they attacked the MCA, beat him up, beat his brothers and sisters, blah, 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 broke his business down, and nothing happened to Mr. Joe. Because the county of Mombasa, you have to understand one thing, is not only run by Governor Hassan Ali Joho, no. The elder brother for Governor Hassan Ali Joho, he's the kingpin of Mombasa.
Wow, I didn't know that.
His name is Abubakar Ali Joho.
Okay.
He is the older brother of the governor of Mombasa. And these two are nothing but a bunch of drug dealers wanted in the USA.
Okay, can we stop there?
Thank
Okay. Thank you very much for that. We'll just stop there and move on to Dr. Benold. So Dr. Benold as well, what makes you think that your party, because I know you're not really standing for any position in Kenya, but you have a party, yeah, a Congress of People Democracy. So what makes you think that your party is better than all these other parties that we have already in Kenya? You're muted. You're muted, sir. You're still muted.
Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Lydia, for the opportunity. Let me say, I'll just speak from where I started, that the Congress for People's Democracy and now the Diaspora County 48 are actually not just my ideas. These are ideas that many people have been thinking about. They've been around for many years. All I would say is what I did was to look for a way to mobilize the diasporians and bring them together. And the biggest question was, okay, we are in diaspora. Can we actually make any tangible change from here? And that's how the Congress for People's Democracy was founded, that we needed to engage with Kenyans on the ground. And we said, okay, how are we going to proceed? Because someone mentioned, I think you mentioned the diaspora policy. I think it was Russia who mentioned the diaspora policy in Kenya. And a lot of people were very optimistic that something would come out of that. We are talking of 2010. In 2014, June 2014, a diaspora policy was passed by the government, and nothing has changed for diaspora. And that's a difference, really. What differentiates the Congress for People's Democracy from all the other parties in Kenya is that it's a diaspora-driven political party. And by that I mean we are founded by people who are based in diaspora, but we are working in collaboration with people on the ground in Kenya. Actually, the best news that I can say I've got now is that because of our mobilization spirit, a lot of political parties in Kenya have actually taken cognizance of what we are doing. And we are now in very, very advanced stage of getting into collaborations with parties which are already registered in Kenya. And what this is going to do is that we are not just going to be a new kid in the block. We are going to have other partners, people who believe. It's not just us who live in diaspora who've been out of the country. There are many people who are in diaspora and they went back to the country. And what we are doing is like having reservists from the army, where you say, okay, where are our veterans? Where are all these people who had some dealings with diaspora at one point? Maybe you studied in diaspora, maybe you worked in diaspora. At one point you're in diaspora. We are saying, where are you? Rise up now, because diaspora is coming and diaspora is calling. And we are coming in two prongs. We've got Congress for People's Democracy, which is going to be a political arm of our organization. And now we have also the Diaspora 48th county. Okay.
We don't have that yet. we are voting for that. We don't have that yet.
That's the point.
Or
That's
are you
what
just
I'm
being?
That's what I'm saying, Lydia. We are going there in first, we are going to be on the ground. We are going to run on the ground, but our message is we want to work with political parties in Kenya that are going to support and enable the ability of those in diaspora to finally get what we are calling the 48th county. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen because you cannot ignore diaspora now. We are just too big to be ignored.
We've been ignored. We've been ignored.
We are such a voice now. Nobody can ignore diaspora anymore. We are coming.
Okay.
We are coming.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I know you say that you are affiliated with some parties in Kenya already, as per now. But are these virgin parties as well, or these are parties that have been there before? Are they just parties being formed like CPD, or they're parties that have been grounded and they've started already?
There's what we did is we looked at our manifesto, our ideology. We are a progressive center-left movement, and we looked around, and there are like-minded people in Kenya who are already registered as a political party.
Okay.
And we've been having discussions, negotiations. As I speak to you now, on Sunday we just finalized drafting our collaboration memorandum of understanding, which means in the next week or so we are going actually to concretize this. And the moment that is done, we are going to come. I hope you are going to invite me back to your studio because I'll now be coming to announce the collaboration between the Congress for People's Democracy, CPD party, with another party, which I'm not going to mention now because the dotted lines have not been signed, but I'll be coming to announce that. At the same time, I'll be coming to you to say diaspora is so united that the Diaspora 48th county movement would have taken, I'm telling you, it's like bushfire now. Everybody is in. UK.
I think I'll disagree with you on that united diaspora. Are we really united as diaspora?
We will get there. Rome was not built in a day.
So we will get there. We are not there yet.
We will get there. We will get there.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Bernard. So I'll come to Murashia, and I know Murashia has big files in this studio. I think he wants to take my job today. He has big files, big books. So well done, Simon Murashia. So yes, I'll go back to the same question with you as well. So what change would you want to bring to Kenya? Or what change would you want to see? Because I know you rightfully say that the politics in Kenya is something that is good. It's just the structure that is not there, and you want us also to grow and have big people politics. Right now we are still baby politics. Yeah. And I also mentioned that we are better than
I agree. Well, Lydia, thank you again for having me on this show. Listening to Dr. Amiken and Bernard there, we have the capacity, obviously. We have the brains and the people to manage resources, but I disagree with a lot of what they've said today. And I'm glad you have Mheshimiwa Kuria online, because he is a parliamentarian. He should be answering some of these questions in regards to when the diaspora policy will be enacted as a bill. They seem to be afraid of working with the diaspora, and I think they're missing a lot. The diaspora has a huge capacity and the resources. We keep reading in the papers research documents showing that Kenyans in the diaspora are remitting millions and billions and billions. Why aren't they taking advantage of these resources?
In fact, talking of remittances, in 2020 it went up to 13%. Remittances went up to 13%. And in 2020, when we were in pandemic.
Yes. Well, we were in a pandemic. Last week, you rightly hosted the High Commissioners. And, and it was a very good, I happened to replay it, and I think was good to engage. This is the sort of thing that kind of talk shows that we want to engage, have a conversation about where we want to go. We're not about name dropping and this is my history. If I was to talk about my history and my genes, gynecology, I would go back to my great-grandfather, Senior Chief Njiri. I don't know if you know about Senior Chief Njiri. The chiefs ran the countries. He was, the Senior Chief Njiri was perhaps one of the richest chiefs in Kenya by then. But I never inherited anything from him.
Yes.
I've grown myself from over the years and to who I am. His son, Njiri, Kariuki Njiri, gave the seat to Mzee Kenyatta for Kigumo, or then Muranga, so that he can be an MP, whilst people like Odinga stepped down for Kenyatta to be the president then. But years after, or 60, 70 years, 60 years after, we're still talking about the same political people in the scenarios. We don't want that.
Yes.
We're in the diaspora. This is where you and I find our food and our resources for. The best we can do, and this is after I've reviewed and worked out what we can do for our country, is support in resources, support in capacity. The policy was there to engage us so that we can support our country. It is not a time for me to think how I'm going to empower myself and become that rich geezer in Nairobi, being driven around with Range Rovers and escorts. No, because the political environment, if you ask Mheshimiwa Kuria, who is online today, 2 or 3 months ago, he did tell the BBC that he received a bribe for a billion. But I don't know whether he has that money to give to you so that you can run the show and enrich more people. He can tell us later, but he's quite an abrasive person. I don't know why he touched his toes. Yeah. But I admire his politics. I know that being as abrasive as he is, that's what makes his politics. But let's have them push resources in the right channel, whether it's policies, whether it's, there's no point of writing a document engaging the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Labor. If you go to their websites, there's nowhere it says the diaspora policy has been enacted. But you can find that the Ministry of Labor, for example, has a website today that if you visit, has a catalog of all the registered companies that are abroad, registered. So these things is happening. These things are happening. They have the capacity in Kenya doing these things. If you go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there is a survey that we were never given. Kenyans in the diaspora never even got to know that the survey was there on ideas and ideologies that you may have. Yes. So for me, to summarize, because I don't want to spend so much time, I think the idea is tonight here is how far can we reach the diaspora community and become engaged in running counties, part of that, or even supporting in whether it's resources or having a platform where they can engage directly with the government. In 1992, if you remember well, 1990, this was written.
Absolute Power.
Absolute Power. John Anguka. In his starting statement, I'll read it for you. And I'm not here to tell everyone what happened to the late Robert Ouko, but he, in his starting sacrifice for Dr. Robert Ouko said, if we continue to look for scapegoats for problems we create ourselves, we shall never be able to solve the problems facing our nation. This was John Anguka, Dr. Robert Ouko before he died. If you go to the our hard tackle, the Uhuru Life, I don't have to go anywhere. I'll just go open a book, a page, and and read out something that will relate, because I am that confident that we are repeating the same thing. We're just engaging in a political cycle. We're looking for scapegoats always.
Yeah.
What we should is have mature politics. We should learn from the past, because we've made mistakes before. And all these people that you're speaking of have all come from the diaspora. If I ask you to name the Minister for Labor now, would you tell me who the Cabinet Secretary for Labor is?
No, I won't.
This is a issue. So we are here trying to criticize a government that we don't hardly know what they are doing. Our president is coming here this week or next week.
Yeah, the 26th, this week. Yeah,
the press should be telling us what the president will be doing here.
Yeah.
The press should have told us what he was doing in Belgium. Our Mheshimiwa should have asked him, or should have quarantined and asked what questions. The questions are, today we have a COVID situation in the world, a pandemic. Kenya has been on the red list for the last few months, sorry. Our president will be coming. A few days ago, Boris Johnson was forced to isolate because he was pained for having been close to someone with COVID. Our president is traveling here. Will he go into isolation? Let us know. Because our economy has stopped. He's not talking about it. And I'm not tackling him. I'm asking our very able MPs who have a lot of history of repeating themselves and bringing back political gorgons back and recycling them. Moi, the making of a statesman. If I go there, I will not find any new names, but the same old names. The man behind the mask. Just before Christmas, 1966, President Kenyatta and his Attorney General, Charles Njonjo, sat in the back of the presidential limousine as he traveled from Kisumu to Kericho. They talked of finding the replacement for Joe Murubi, who was abruptly resigned as the national vice president, an issue of causing the president to some concern. This is the same thing. They discussed the obvious list of candidates, members of a family and Kikuyu clique from Kiambu district, Ndio Kainange, his nephew. Listen, this is the same politics we're talking today. Who replaces who? We cannot go on like this.
What we had in 1966.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Simon. I just had a message from, I don't know if he's going to come back, from Mheshimiwa. He's where there's no reception.
I am sure he's going to tell us how he got the bride.
So, oh God, I don't want to get involved in this one. But what I can say is, he just said that where he is, there's no reception. But whether there's no reception or not, we cannot question that. Yes, we just leave it to that. So we've lost him. So we are going to continue with our conversation with or without him, because we are the diaspora. And I know he was once a diaspora, and that's why he was coming here as well today to talk to us about the process and cons and pros, cons and oh God, how do you say this? The don'ts and the do's of when you want to get into politics in Kenya, because he was a diaspora and he made it. Because I know and I've seen and I've heard a lot of diaspora people go to Kenya and they want to be either a senator, a governor, MP, and they don't make it. There's something that is amiss. You understand? But
what's missing is because people are getting into people's, pockets, rather than getting into people's heart first.
Okay, so in Kenya, there's the policy. Policy is not really important, it's money. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, what I'm trying to say is that if you try to go and get into politics in Kenya, if you just go in an abrupt with 100 million Kenya shillings, people will eat that money, and then at the end of the day, we will go back to what my brother here, Sam, just said. They will just go back to the same thing of 1966. But if you try and get into people's heart first, get into their heart, try to convince them without that 100 shilling note, and then later you can do it with that.
Do you think that's possible in Kenya though? Or in Africa?
101%.
Okay.
Trust me,
okay.
I've done it.
Dr. Abiken is so confident about the people of Mombasa. They've always been But I mean, for many years you've known that if you've traveled to Mombasa, you can sleep with your door open, and that's because of the trust.
Yes.
There's a trust.
It's not just a question of the people of Mombasa just being trustful. Yes, it is. But then on the other side of the coin, I always believe in humanity. I always believe in humanity. And I always said, I have been in politics all my life. Yes. Although I'm not a politician,
I'm
a human rights activist. Now, how you regard that, whether you regard that as politics or as a human rights activist, whichever way, I have been in it in my entire life.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, if you get into someone's heart first, believe me, you can make it before you get into their pockets.
So, okay, so I'll ask Bernard that question. Because I actually wanted to ask Mheshimiwa that question until we lost him for some reason, or maybe somebody here called Simon Russia stepped on his toes and decided to Brexit. So you've actually disappointed or upset my guest. So my guest is gone.
It's not what someone Russia said. It's someone quoted what had been said.
I know. So I will hold you responsible for that.
Well, he told the BBC he got the bribe, so he should tell us if we give it back or not.
Or you should give it to us so we can expand this studio. Okay, no, jokes aside. So I'm going to ask Bernard as well the same question. Is there's something amiss here that we're missing? Because I've seen a lot of people go to Kenya from diaspora. They came back. They came back broke, just like Dr. Mkenya rightfully said, because they take all their savings and they think, oh, this is going to work. Do you think that is the problem in Kenya? What do you think is amiss?
Yeah, thank you, Lydia. And I agree with the gentlemen, what they've said, Russia and Kenny. I think I've spent a lot of time really just trying to answer that question, because part of our ideology, part of our manifesto is to address that very problem. Kenya has got a systematic problem which has become like a cancer, where people believe that
sorry, I'm sorry to I lost you, but
oh yes,
I am back. Apologies for that.
Okay, sir, it's okay. Welcome back.
Right, welcome back. Right, so the point I was making is that we've got this problem, which has really become an epidemic in Kenya, where people believe, let's take a very simple thing. If a member of parliament or an MCA or a senator uses the very money allocated to the county to build a road or a school or anything like that, people go celebrating and calling up the name and praising the person, and they just miss one point, that this money is actually taxpayers' money that has been used to do this. And so the solution now is not really about dishing out money. What we need to do, and this is what we've been doing now, is civic education. What Kenyans need is to understand what their rights are. And as a voter, the moment you know what you are voting for, you realize that, why should you take 100 shillings or 500 or 1,000 shillings if the county has been allocated 2.5 billion Kenya shillings? Why would you be bought so cheap? So we just need civic education. And what encouraged me was there was a clip during one of the by-elections where someone was dishing out money, and a mob of citizens came and said, well, what are you doing? Why are you giving people money? Get out of here. You cannot buy our votes. You know, that was so encouraging, because that's how it will begin. It will begin by people saying, you can't vote, you can't afford me. You can't afford my vote. You can't give me 500, 1,000. Just let's get the right leaders, let the county be allocated its money, and let that money go where it's supposed to be spent. If that happened, I'm telling you, you don't need to buy any votes from anybody. So people will elect the best leaders.
So you say the best
custodians of that money.
Okay, I hear you say the best leaders. Who are the best leaders? Let me just ask, because let me say something. in diaspora, I hear a lot of people in diaspora saying, oh, we're going to change policies. When we get there, we're going to do this. I'm going to do this. There's all this I'm going to do. So I'm now going to ask Mheshimiwa, actually, because I know, Mheshimiwa, you were once a diaspora. And there was a time, I'm sure you're thinking, when I go, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this. So as you've been a member of parliament, Mheshimiwa, and for 4 years now, or 5 years, is your term ends next year, what change have you done that we as diaspora should actually now follow the footsteps and say, yes, Mheshimiwa did this, he was one of us, but he has done this, and he has done this. Mheshimiwa, can you please answer that, please, for us?
Thank you very much. I have to say from the onset that trying to navigate through diaspora issues within the government of Kenya has not been quite easy. First of all, the biggest problem is that when you mention diaspora in most government circles, people think about the export of labor and the problems associated with it, especially within some regions. And rarely will they see it in terms, in other words, most people within government see diaspora as a problem. They see diaspora as a challenge, it's something, it's a problem that needs to be solved. Rarely will they see it as an opportunity to, with all the potential that comes with it, and that is something that we are trying to change. That is why you find that even the diaspora policy that has been buried out there is not coming out, because people don't perceive diaspora as an asset necessarily. It is buried in misconception with the issues of labor, or people go to Saudi or to Lebanon and to these countries and they get, so the issue of this guy who is in the UK or the US, who is sending money every month, religiously does not come out. So, so I think the starting point is about education, educating our policymakers about what diaspora really is. So even before we talk about all these things, there comes in the challenge.
Okay, so do you think that we actually stand a chance? This one that you're saying that the government think that diaspora is a challenge and they just look. Do you think we actually stand a chance as diaspora to have the 48th county that we are actually now crying for?
You know what? People push for their own change. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear
Hello?
you. Yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah, women fight for women issues. Persons with disability fight for disability issues. Youth fight for youth issues. Diaspora has to fight for the issues.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because in this country, it's come to a point where, and I think in all countries, that people have to fight and work to project their issues, and this requires some sort of discipline. They have to know. Diaspora has to invest in their own champions, people who can be able to, to take up the diaspora agenda. I know people will say, but we are sending $3 billion in remittances, and because of that, government should come up and recognize us for who we are. I think there's nothing called government. Government is a conglomeration of people and diverse interests. So for us to make some progress as diaspora, we need to be more organized. We need to know that you have to project an agenda. We need to see, because the problem is that even we have got quite some people who are in the diaspora, even in parliament, but I was hosted for lunch 2 days ago by my colleague from Kwale County, and I just came to learn, we've been in parliament together now for more than 3 years, that he is also ex-diasporan as myself. He was in the UK, like you guys are. But until we make it possible for people to go pronouncing their diaspora credentials, because now 3.5 years, I am ex-diasporan, he is ex-diasporan, but you don't know that we are ex-diasporans. So maybe if we knew, or maybe if we felt the need to proclaim our diaspora credentials, we could be working together to, in a more concerted manner to project diaspora issues. So the first thing is to instill pride in people who come and seek elective office, and because it's one thing trying to get my friend, and I wish him all the best, to be governor of Mombasa. But if only we could also harness people in leadership who understand about diaspora and who are there, so that we can be able to have a real diaspora agenda in Parliament. Because what I decided to do after I discovered that my colleague who is a member of our Parliament from a very, from where I come from, is a far from, was just called Kinango. But I was in one side of the world and he was on the other side, but we all diasporans. So I intend, before the end of the current term of Parliament, to start a caucus, a Kenyan parliamentary diaspora caucus, to bring together anyone within the current Parliament who is interested in matters diaspora. I think that would be a beginning point, so that if I am coming to the UK or the US or Australia or the Middle East or South Africa, I don't come as an individual, and people mistake our intention, but we are able to come as a diaspora of members of Parliament who have got roots in the diaspora, so that we can be able to work together and create some synergies to push the diaspora agenda.
Lydia, there's something I just wanted to emphasize. Okay. Something just a little bit. Bear me for 1 second.
Is that what Mheshimiwa said?
No, the other Mheshimiwa, what's his name?
Bernard.
Bernard.
Okay.
Yes. He mentioned something very, very nice. And this is the thing that I've been insisting. I've been preaching this thing for years and years in Kenya. The system of bribing and telling people to vote for you. Now, remember one thing. That bribing, the problem is not them Mheshimiwas who are bribing people to vote.
Yeah, of course.
The problem is us receiving the bribe.
Of course.
Now,
yes.
Please, let me have your calculator there just for 1 second.
Okay.
Now, for example, here is the Mheshimiwa, and he gives you 600 Kenya shillings.
Okay.
Please, have your calculator ready. He gives you 600 shillings to vote for him. That 600 shillings, it means shut your mouth down. Excuse my French.
Okay.
Okay? It means zip up your mouth and don't say anything.
Okay.
So here he is. He gives you 600 shillings. You take that 600 shillings, you walk into the debe and vote for him. Now, let's see that 600 shilling that he gave you, what is it for? It is to shut your mouth for the next coming 5 years. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to take 600 shillings, divide by 5.
Times 5.
No, divide by 5.
Divide by 5, okay.
So that comes to 120 shillings
120.
per year. So that Mheshimiwa has paid you 120 shillings for the whole year for you to zip up your mouth and don't say anything. Now,
exactly.
What is 120 shillings? Let's divide 120 shillings per month. So one year has got 12 months.
Yeah.
That's divided by 12.
Okay.
So what do we get?
10 shillings.
10 shillings. So that Mheshimiwa that you have gone and voted, he has paid you 10 shillings per month for you to zip up your mouth and don't say anything about him.
10
now,
shillings.
what is 10 shillings per month divided by 1 month? 1 month has got 4 weeks. So it's 10 shillings divided by 4.
That's 40.
That is 2 shillings and 50 cents. So that Mheshimiwa has paid you weekly 2 shillings and 50 cents for you to shut your mouth up and don't say anything that he will do bad for your county or for your constituency. So this is the effect. Mheshimiwa is paying you 2 shillings and 50 cents per week for the next 5 years for you to close up your mouth. How is that?
Is that just an assumption, or that's exactly how much?
That's reality.
600 Kenya shillings.
Of course, you get 600 shillings for you to vote.
So what do you think we can do to change this?
Let's get into the people's heart. Let's explain it to the people. My message to the people is only one. Okay? Because if you start talking about God, people will say, excuse me, we are hungry in Kenya. Would you please put your God aside?
And give us something.
Yeah, I said, hang on. Eat that money. That 600 shilling that so-called Mheshimiwa is giving you, eat that money. But when you go into the debe, think who is the right guy for that place.
Okay, I understand there's all this, and that's why Simon was talking about recycling, because when they give the money, we recycle the same politicians, and then we complain and complain and complain. But the problem is not the politician. The problem is not the person giving the money, it's the person who is taking the money.
Yes, because last week, His Excellency, President, I think if I'm not wrong, it should be last week or last month, His Excellency, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, he said it very, very clearly. Now look at this. Tell me, please, tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Tell me I'm wrong. I would like you to tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
A month ago, His Excellency the President said it, and I have it here in the clip. He said, we're going to follow up each and every person, every politician, he said it in Coast Province, that whatever you've achieved, all these big houses that you've built, all these limousines, cars that you've bought, you will have to bring it to the table and say, excuse me, this is where I got this money from. Now, I have a very simple question for you, Lydia Ted, and the people of Kenya as a whole. I'll give you an example that will work out very well. Our Governor Hassan Ali Joho, he rose from the poor. He rose from poverty. He used to sell vitumbua all his life.
Yes.
He used to sell vitumbua on the street. I left UK and I went to Kenya in 1989-90. Governor Hassan Ali Joho was selling fruits in Kisauni, and I paid him 50 shillings, and he gave me a sahani of fruit, and I ate. This very same man now, he's worth over 6 billion. We have a very simple question in regard to what the president has said. We want a tax return form from Governor Hassan Ali Joho, showing it to us, we, the people of the county of Mombasa, saying, excuse me, my 6 billion came from A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yes.
That's all what we need.
Okay.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that you're
Where
right.
did you get this money from?
You're definitely right.
Huh?
You're definitely right.
I'm sorry to take your time.
No, it's fine, it's fine. So I'm going to ask this because of this money issue. I'm going back again to Mheshimiwa to ask Mheshimiwa, you were once a diaspora and you made it. You actually made it. I know I think we lost you, Mheshimiwa, when I asked that question. There are a lot of people in diaspora, they go back home to Kenya to either they want to be senators or governors or MPs, whichever position they want to vote for. And they come back, they've lost. And some of them, they take a lot of money with them. And like you said, that's a big mistake they make, because you need to get to people's hearts rather than people's pockets.
That's right.
But I think because of the policy and the way we've been conditioned, not just as Kenyans, but as Africans, is give me and I'll vote for you, because we see a lot of that in Africa as a continent. So now I'm going to ask Mheshimiwa, how did you do it? Or did you have a godfather behind you? Or did you have so much money? Or did you actually touch the people's hearts? So Mheshimiwa, how did you manage to do that so that a lot of diaspora people out there who wants to actually, there's actually some people who told me, we need him to answer that because I want to be an MP and I don't know how. So we need you to tell these 3 powerful men here, or 2 powerful men here, who want to be MPs or senators or governors, how you did it, Mheshimiwa. How should they go about this?
He's written a book, Tell It As It Is.
Okay, Mheshimiwa. So because for the benefit of those who have not read that book, please, Mheshimiwa, can you tell us? Tell it as it is. Give us $1 billion advice, sir. You are muted. If you're talking, you're muted and we cannot hear you, Mheshimiwa.
Yeah, he's still muted.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think we'll buy bundles for you next time, sir. Okay, Mheshimiwa.
Not a joke.
Hello, sorry, I missed the...
Yeah, Mheshimiwa, can you hear me? I think where he is really bad. Can you hear me, sir? Okay, I think where he is, the reception is really, really bad. Okay, so I'll go to Simon. Simon, I know you tried to go to Kenya once, and it was really difficult for you, and you came back. And what do you think what Bernard and Dr. Amkeni is saying is right? Did you make that mistake, or do you think that's the only way?
Well, Dr. Amkeni is, as I gather today, is a political scientist with a background with psychology. And I think he's better placed to respond, but from an expert side. But the last time you had a Coca-Cola, I'm not advertising for Coca-Cola.
You are actually. You could have just said a drink.
A drink. Yes. When you last, there's a sufficient reason why I went for that.
Okay.
Did anyone call out to you to go for it, or you actually visualized it, or how did you?
It's because I think there's a lot of advert out there about it. So I just went
yeah, so the political mileage,
yes,
in my understanding, for Kenya, this idea of money has been on the forefront of Kenyans.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because if you look at the social media today, even the very young people who we expect to be the leaders of tomorrow,
yes,
have already infused themselves the idea of making money and making it big, which is a social media issue. When we used to wake up, if I remember well, from when I was a very young man, the idea of work was infused in me by relatives, that you have to wake up and do some work. And from that work, it pays you to visualize your goals. And from those goals, you work out a mileage or a SMART goal that you can work on, whether it's a 5-year goal or a 3-year goal or a 4-year goal. If you don't go that, you evolve and you evaluate yourself as you go. This is no longer the case with the Kenyan community or society today. So for it to change, it has to start with a very young community, the village. Like Dr. Amkeni has said, we have to start working on what our ideology is to the people, rather than I will make you rich if you join my party, or I'll make you rich if I do this. Now, 5 years ago, or 5 years ago, I did try to engage in politics in Kenya, and I was doing it on social media, like I'd learned. And it works miracles, because I'd watched the Jubilee Party launch a very, very successful campaign. The Jubilee Party, at the time of moving from TNA and URP, did several things that if you are a Kenyan and watching television every other day, would have been mesmerized, including our president shaking hands with the deputy and laughing over camera. This was warming to our hearts. They were playing to our hearts. And they did it well. And technology played a really huge role in doing that. And it's still playing that role today. And until us Kenyans are awakened to what is happening, it's a choreographed system that you fall into systematically. As a psychologist will tell you, we are fed this every single day. Yesterday, we watched on Citizen, MP for Honorable Kioni and Honorable Gachagua arguing over issues. And at one stage, Honorable Gachagua was asked the question, I'm sorry if I didn't get the names right. he was asked, how did you raise 200 million? Your money is frozen in the bank. 200 million is in the bank. It's somewhere frozen. Can you explain how you got it? He wasn't in any way interested in answering that question. What he said was, I can account for every single penny. Now, what he is just asked Dr. Mkeni has asked Joho to, it will never happen. If Trump didn't do it, how are we expecting Joho to do it? And Trump is what we are working with in today's politics. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's going to be the new norm, technology. People are watching us today, they will have their own evaluation on how we've done tonight.
Yes, of course, of course.
I'm not bothered. Because as far as I'm concerned, Kenyans have to start listening to themselves.
Exactly.
Where do I want to be 5 years from today? What do you do that isn't helping you as a person that a politician will change? If it's that health facility in your local sub-location, what can we do for you? Yes. That is the questions that people should be answering. The schools, people are having to take their schools. I was looking at the database from NTC. There's some colleges with the National Industrial Training Authority. Some areas in Marsabit have only like one training facility for technology. But yet, even today, places like Nairobi, Kiambu, Murang'a have only 3 or 4 technology schools. Yeah. Young people do not have an ability to earn new skills. Yet we have leaders marooning, driving the best vehicles up and down, and they can create this capacity because you need to empower young people with education, whether it's education or skills. Yeah. Richard Branson was never educated. Yeah, exactly. And he is one of the most. Yes, the other day we learned he was running to space.
In space. Yeah.
It's only through visualization and actualization, skills. Yeah.
That's right.
And that is what we need.
Okay.
For me, that's where I'm going.
Thank you very much.
Can you ask Honorable if he does come back? We still want to know if he gave back the money.
He disappeared again.
Okay.
He disappeared again. That's why I say we need to buy him some easy airtime or something. Yeah. So I'm just going to ask Bernard this question because I know you are so passionate about the 48th county. So how are you going to implement this, Bernard? And we are running out of time, so don't take 2 hours in answering this, please.
Okay, thank you for limiting my time, Vivian. Right. Our strategy really is very simple. We've got what we call a multi-pronged strategy, whereby we've got those Kenyans living in diaspora, and we are working in collaboration with Kenyans who are living in Kenya. And our belief is if we galvanize those Kenyans in diaspora and get the like-minded Kenyans on the ground, we will be able to make a difference. Look at what Mheshimiwa just said now, that he didn't know he had a colleague in parliament who was an ex-diasporian. Yeah. And he today, to be honest, and every meeting I attend, I get some. Today, what he has said, I know there are all these negative things to talk about, but I only like taking the positive. What positive can I take from here for the diaspora county is that if we brought together all the ex-diasporians who are already involved in politics in Kenya to create that caucus, I'm telling you, that is going to give an impetus to our efforts here. And you see, for us, winning the hearts and minds is very simple because our belief, our ideology is zero tolerance to all these things being discussed here. We believe in zero tolerance of theft, graft, or corruption of any form of public funds. And what we are saying is, saying that you don't believe in something is not enough. We are saying, let the law be enforced to the fullest extent. Let the culprits face the consequences, talking and shouting about corruption, graft, theft, it's a waste of time. Let people be sentenced to proper terms.
That's very true.
There are countries where people are hanged.
That's very true, Ben. That's very true. Yes.
Let's act now. The time of talking and forming, I don't know.
Let the politician take responsibility.
Just arraign the people and sentence them to proper terms in prison.
Yes. Let the politicians take their responsibilities.
That corruption will never be tolerated. You know, one thing I learned about Kenya, I've been in many countries. I lived in Namibia. Do you know in Namibia, you can apply for a gun, a weapon, and within 2 days, you are given a gun.
Wow.
In Kenya, we've got such strict laws on gun control that it's so difficult to find a Kenyan carrying a gun. Why? Because people are so afraid of being found with one and even using it, even when you have a right to use it. If we make corruption, people fear corruption the way they fear just having a gun or weapons, that is the beginning. And what I'm saying is, in diaspora, we've got some squeaky clean. What Kenyans, what the recycling has done is people have become cynical. People have lost faith. They become apathetic to the political process. Why? Because we keep recycling. What we need now is a breath of fresh air. New people who have never been involved in any scandal. People have never stolen.
But Ben,
who are coming to deliver a service to our people.
But Ben, these people, they're not ready to take responsibility. They're not ready to be responsible.
Transfer. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm advocating. And diaspora, we are saying we want to come in. We want to come in with a squeaky clean political party. We don't want any baggage, any luggage of corruption, graft, tribalism. When we board a plane, when you get out of the Kenyan border, JKIA or Mombasa or whatever, you become an African, you become a black man, you become what you are. Nobody cares what your tribe is. I don't know why people still think in terms of tribes. What we need is to deliver the services to our people. And in diaspora, we are saying, let us be given an opportunity to have a control of our own affairs. We are in diaspora, we are making remittances, there is a policy for diaspora, so we are just saying, give us a chance. Let's have our own county. Let us run our own affairs. Okay? And we will just pay taxes like everybody else, will contribute to the national exchequer like everybody else, but can we at least be recognized as an entity of our own, because our needs are unique.
Okay.
If you want to appoint an ambassador in the UK, surely why should you bring someone who has never been out of the country? How would they understand the problems of people living in the UK, Why can't you look for someone who has lived, who knows the problem? We've got community leaders. And put them in the embassy. Let us run our own affairs. And that's what we're asking for. We want to run our own affairs.
Thank you very much.
Diaspora County 48. That's what we are talking about.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bernard, and thank you for taking that initiative. So I'll come to Dr. Amkeni, and I'll ask this question. We have the youths, okay? The youths are struggling. There's no work, okay? Now there's so many of them are into criminal activities, and I'm not in any way justifying that they should. I'm not justifying that. But right now they have nothing to do. They're idle. So all they can do is, where am I going to steal? Where am I going to get my next meal? Okay. We even saw the other day, they even stole a mobile phone from a police officer. That shows you that things are bad. So as a governor, what are you going to change? How are you going to change this with the youths in Kenya right now?
Lydia, I will give it to you in a very simple mathematical term that you will be able to understand me. There are two kinds of human beings in Kenya that their grade is called useless. Two kinds of human beings that the government of Kenya regard them as 0/0%. They're of no use to the society. They're of no use to the running of the government. These kind of These two type of human beings are called useless in the eyes of the government of Kenya. One of them is a woman, and the second one is a youth.
Oh,
Ask me how.
how?
Very good. During election time, tell me, who do you see mainly on the street shouting, singing, clapping, taken forward, katisharing mabuno and all that kind of stuff? It's all done by women. Women. So what these politicians, they tend to do, they tend to use women. They use them. Don't tell me about women have got rights in Kenya because you've got what you call a woman representative. Well, let me tell you this. I like to talk with examples. That's why I say to you, I'll give it to you in mathematical terms. A woman representative in Mombasa County. Mombasa County has 6 constituencies. 6. Each constituency, have you got your calculator ready?
Okay.
Well, each constituency received over 30 million a year as a grant. So now you tell me, 30 million times 6, that's 180 million.
Wow.
That a woman rep in Mombasa, Ashu, or whatever her name is, she received over 180 million just to look after the women. You tell me we don't even have a center, a women's center, where a woman has been beaten up by the husband, a woman has got problems, that a woman can run to. Now you tell me, yes, they've put these women rep. We are going back to what Bernard had just said. They're 2 shillings and 50 cents per week that has been paid to these women, because these women that were kept there, they were hand-picked by whoever is in the top as a governor. Excuse me, I won't pick Lydia Tet as a women rep because she knows a lot. So if we put her there, she will ask us a lot of questions. Let's look for someone who is, dummy, someone that we can use. So we can get that money for the women and take it away. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about the youth. You've asked me about the youth. Take a look at Thailand. Let's talk about youth. Let's go to Thailand. No, Thailand, that's too far. Let's go to Tanzania. Tanzania is our next door neighbor. If I take you to Thailand, Thailand is quite far away. Tanzania has a lot of youth than what we have in Kenya. The Tanzania economy is not as high as a Kenyan economy. All right? But the Tanzanian government has done a lot for the youth than what the Kenyan government has done. In Tanzania at the moment, the rate of drug, you have to understand 2 things here. Drugs are mainly for the youth. There's drug users and the capacity of drugs coming into the country. Thailand has a very high capacity of drugs coming into the country, but it has a very low use on youth in the country that are on drugs. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Whereas for us in Kenya, we have a high capacity of drugs coming into the country and a high capacity of youth using the drugs. This is because the youth in Kenya are being abused by your so-called politicians. They use them. So, as I've said it earlier before, we need to get into the people's heart. Try to convince, educate our friends, the youth especially. For example, in Tanzania, I'm giving you a very simple example. Go to Tanzania. The government of Tanzania has involved the new president, what's her name of Tanzania? Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan. What she has done, she said, excuse me, I want more women, more youth in my government than ever before. Has our government ever said that? No.
Maybe they will.
Maybe.
When we have the 48.
When is that?
When we have the 48 county.
When Jesus will come down.
No.
When is that?
When we have the 48 county.
There also another reason as to why our youth are mainly affected is because of the economy, Lydia. Let me give you a simple example. The economy of Kenya is dead. It's not broken, it's dead. Just a very simple example for you. Uganda is a landlocked country, and so is Rwanda. We're still on the youth. You're asking me about the youth. Uganda is a landlocked country, so there is no way that a ship will go into Uganda and take fuel there. And so is Rwanda. Now I want to ask you this question. We in Kenya, we have the largest port in East and Central Africa. All right? How much is a litre of fuel? How much is a litre of petrol in Kenya? 120 shillings, if I'm not wrong, in Kenya. We have the largest port in Kenya than any other port in East Africa. Ships, when they come to Tanzania, sometimes they cannot dispose their containers there. They have to be done in Kenya, put into smaller ships, and then sent to Tanzania. 1 litre of petrol in Kenya is about 120, if I'm not wrong. Uganda gets its petrol from Kenya. So that same petrol comes from Saudi Arabia, docks in Mombasa, takes that petrol, goes all the way down to Uganda, takes it to the petrol station, someone goes, or you go with your car, put the fuel there, and the government charges you 80 shillings per litre or 88 shillings per litre. We in Kenya, that same litre, we buy it for 120. Now you tell me, in Tanzania, a litre of petrol compared to Kenyan shillings is about 90 shillings. Well, Tanzania is around the corner. Let's go to Rwanda. Rwanda is about 85. So the youth have been affected because of the economy. Nobody is listening to them. We need people to listen. We need a government that listens. And as Ben has said earlier before, these so-called politicians, they need to take responsibility. Please let me finish this one word. Lastly,
I'm going to cut you short because we're running out of time, totally out of time, because I want to give Simon last words as well.
Thank you.
To say his last remarks.
Well, Lydia, a lot has been said, and obviously I want to appreciate Dr. Mkeni and Bernard for their contribution. I've learned a lot. Like you said, Bernard, we're here to take the positives away. If Mheshimiwa would have been back, I think what he said was very encouraging. Forming a caucus within Parliament would obviously help a lot to help us engage with Parliament and government. Because he said it's a congregation of ideas and ideologies. So I want to take on board the positives. For my time that I've been here, the 2 hours, I think that is the most productive thing I've had. And I obviously encourage Mheshimiwa, and I think he has a vision for Mombasa. I look forward for the day that he is the governor in Mombasa. But for me, I will go back to myself in my little cocoon. When I live here, I'll take a taxi or transport. I can easily tell how long it will take me to get to my house because the systems here in the diaspora work. Whether that is a story for the future, I can visualize it in Kenya. One day it will happen. Now, he's rightly argued that a lot of youth are unemployed, but there are good things happening. I can say devolution has been the best thing that has happened for Kenya. Devolution means that resources have been spread over the other counties that were losing out. For many years, Nairobi and the centros and entire around the surroundings were the counties that were benefiting. So in my own opinion, I have visited, I have been to Kisii, I've been to Kitale, I have seen that it's a different country that we are living in. We have to be proud of what our country is at where the stage we are in. Of course, it's not going to be as perfect as I said it. When I live here, I know I'll get on time. I'll probably lose time because of traffic in here, here and there. But I can be able to plan my time and my whatever I'm doing next. But if this is my vision for Kenya, let it be the vision 2040, because 2030, as I said, is just an illusion. If we continue playing the same politics of recycling leaders, we are not helping ourselves. And people like ourselves are accepting that sometimes we can only do so much for ourselves and our country. I would like to think in my next 15 years, I want to see and retire in a happier community. People who love what they do every other day, not people who are aspiring to steal from one another. I say this to a lot of business because I have people that I work with every single day in Kenya. And these people, it's a culture. When you send money, somebody is always thinking how they can make double what you've sent them for a particular job they were supposed to do for you. So that culture has inbred from the top, where maybe as visualized as the president can be, or he can do whatever he wants to do, he can make the strongest speeches, but as long as the civil servants are not following through, as long as the judicial system, the police are not working independently, we are all backing dogs. And it will continue for so many years. But we have to have a hope. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe, you make your move, I make my move. I will continue supporting those who are prepared to change. And contest the same thing. And in favor of people like him, who have a vision and the power and the muscle to go out there and do it. But I don't have the will to fight a losing battle. Thank you.
Let me just emphasize, just for 1 minute, what my brother Sam has said. Just borrow me for 1 minute, please. I've really liked his idea, but I would also like to emphasize one thing that he has forgotten in his story, is that not until the politicians are ready to take responsibilities of what they have done. A very simple example, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto, the Vice President, were accused of a mass murder and they were sent to The Hague. Well, President Uhuru Kenyatta said, I did not do it. What did William Samoei Ruto say? He said, no, I'm innocent, I did not do it. So they took responsibility and they were sent to Hague and they stood trial. And they were found to be innocent. Why? Because they took responsibility and they went. I have a very simple question to other politicians in Kenya, such as Governor Hassan Ali Joho. He has been accused by the CIA. He has, after thorough investigation, a report was written down and handed over to the former American ambassador, Michael Rennenberg. And clearly, it was indicated that Governor Hassan Ali Joho is a drug dealer. Others were arrested and they were sent to New York. He is wanted in New York, him and his brother, Governor Abubakar Ali Joho, to go there and stand trial. Others were jailed for 25 years. Now what Sam has said, it's very, very clear. Until our politicians are ready to take that so-called responsibility.
Lydia, Doctor is a student of philosophy. He would clearly remember George Orwell's book of what?
I know it very well.
Animal Farm. So some animals are.
Lydia, can I add something?
Okay, we are running out of time, guys.
Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean, how could you imagine if you tried it? Of the golden. So some animals are.
Well, we have to take responsibility.
Yeah,
they have to.
Exactly.
All this, I will build a school, I will build houses, I will build roads. This money comes from us, we the taxpayers.
Exactly.
But if you are accused, Lydia, you have to stand trial.
So be snowball.
Yeah.
Let them do so.
Yeah. Okay, Bernard. Let Bernard. Just not even 1 minute, because we're going over our time. I don't want this.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Mine is a very simple message now to the current Kenyan politicians. The days when they used to come to diaspora to ask for money,
and gone.
Make promises, that's gone.
Gone.
What we want is anyone who wants any discussion, any business with diaspora, they need to support our initiative for Diaspora 48 county. That's the message. It doesn't matter what political party you belong to, by the way.
Yeah.
We are saying this is a neutral initiative. You come, you show you are supporting the Diaspora 48 county, then we will listen to you. And that's it. And that's a message to every Kenyan leader today, that you are welcome to talk to the diaspora, but the only message to you is we want to hear how you're going to support our initiative.
But Bernard,
the 48 county.
Yeah, but Bernard, I hear you and I understand what you're saying. But this message should not be to the politician. This message should be to us, diaspora. Because just like Dr. Mkeni said earlier, the people who are taking the money are the people to be blamed, not the person giving, not the politicians themselves. And it's the same thing with the diaspora. Tomorrow when we hear, I don't want to use the president's name, but tomorrow when we hear one MP is coming, or a senator or governor, we're all running there. And we forget that we should stand together, organized, like Mheshimiwa did say that diaspora, we are not organized. So if we stand together and say, you know what, we're not coming there until you do this, then they can hear us. But it's us. That message should be to us, not to the governors, not to the senators, not to the politicians in Kenya, because they'll do what they have to do to come here, and then we run to them like they're small gods, because that's what we do in diaspora anyway. So that message,
it's pathetic and it needs to stop. It's time to send a message that, look, you want dialogue with us, it starts with, do you recognize Diaspora 48 county? Yes. What are you doing about it? ABC. Okay, let's have a meeting in Washington, in New York, in London, in wherever. But unless that's on the agenda, we are saying you are not welcome.
That's true. Okay, thank you very much. And I just want to say thank you so much to you, Bernard, and Dr. Mkeni, and Simon as well, because like today I even told somebody in one WhatsApp, people like complaining. We complain a lot, but we do nothing. So when somebody takes the initiative to do something, we again want to spoil it. That is diaspora, and that is why Mheshimiwa said we are not organized. And there is also one day we had a meeting with a former chairman of IEBC, and he said what they say about diaspora is mutadu, because we are not organized, we are not together. All we're thinking is, oh, Bernard have started this, I want to start as well. Dr. Mkeni wants to be a governor, me too I want, Simon wants to be me too I want to do what Simon is doing. And we are not together, and we are not organized. So until we get to that space as diasporas, then we'll be able to have the 48th county.
No,
Before that,
the blueprint is yourself. You can only do it yourself.
Yeah, you can only do it yourself, because people do complain, but they don't do anything. Now, people will complain, oh, I'm not coming to the show because Mheshimiwa is there. So why don't you come and say to Mheshimiwa what you want to say? Like what you said today. That was so brave. He took bribe. He admitted it. So you've come to tell him. So you tell us, why did you take the bribe? What did you do? That is making a change. But if you just complain behind the sheets or behind the doors, and you're not coming forward to give your ideologies, your suggestions, your questions, nothing will ever change in diaspora. But today I'm so happy that you guys took the step to come, and a short invitation. So thank you so much, Dr. Mkeni, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
I wish you all the best to be a governor.
Thank you.
I think when you're governor, I'll visit Mombasa.
Thank you very much. And my message to the people of Kenya, if you are being bribed, take that bribe, eat that bribe, but at the ballot, remember the problems that you've encountered all for the past 5 years.
What is your party?
I'm independent.
No question. No, that question here. No
I'm
parties.
independent.
We're not discussing parties here.
No, I don't have political party. I'm independent.
The only party we're discussing right now is CPD because it's Diaspora Party.
Yes,
No any
yes.
other parties being discussed.
I am an independent candidate.
Yes.
I'm an independent candidate.
Yeah, today is only CPD and
That-
48th country.
That's it.
48th county, that's it.
I'm
Okay?
an independent candidate.
Okay.
You need a nomination ticket. Talk to us.
Yes, exactly. So,
I'm an
and I just want to say thank you as well to Simon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Simon, as well, for all you've done. And anytime you decide again to venture into politics or to go for an MP or anything,
He can
I'll
do
be
it.
beside you,
He can do it.
100%.
101%.
Yeah, 'cause
he
you
has
have-
the potential. I
You
can
have
see
really
it.
helped a lot of businesses in diaspora. You're a philanthropist, and that's the people we need in power. Philanthropists, people who see beyond what they have. You actually helped my daughter a lot. You actually gave her the motivation to go out and do what she does. So thank you so much.
But Lydia,
Simon.
it's down to yourself as a mother. Obviously, we're not discussing the personality you are. It's your drive, and obviously, she's rubbed into that drive, and that is what is lacking in Kenya. Parents or leaders who other people who are following and looking out to can actually rub into and aspire to do it. So it's a sad state, but we remain hopeful. I am one who is resilient and
Yes.
hopeful. So
You can
so
do
much.
it, Sam. If they have the clock, you have the time.
Exactly.
Trust me, you can
and,
do it.
And thank you so much, Bernard, as well, for your initiative for CPD. We are supporting your CPD. We are behind you, so thank you so much. And also for the 48th diaspora, is up to all of us as diasporas to stand together and make sure that we have 48th county so that we can be represented as diasporas, not just for remittances, but also for our voting, for our voice, for our problems, whatever we're going through. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Lydia. Well said. Well said.
You're welcome. So I'll see you again until next time. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time on Wednesday again, 6 p.m. London time and 8 p.m. Kenyan time. I promise next week we're going to be on time. And what I always say before I log off is it can only be God. Stay blessed. Bye.
Thank you. God bless.
well done.